Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is GrandDanz, and the following video is actually going to be a live recording on my stream, which was twitch.tv/GrandDanz, and it will explain how exactly the NURD Podcast is going to work out. If you have any questions, go right ahead, just shoot me a DM. It's going to be GrandDanz, just add me as a friend, I will answer any questions you guys have. Again, thank you guys so much for all your support and all for your love and so on. Love you, nerds. Have a nice day. What do you find interesting about podcasts? Do you like people's opinions on topics, or just general discussions? So, long story short, my bachelor's degree was essentially communications and a minor in business. And considering what this, again, I'm gonna go a little bit dark here, considering this whole Corona, COVID-19 stuff like that, now like people are hiring at the moment, and I'm starting to lose all that stuff I learned at university about, communications, or just talking to people in general, how to, just common discussions with people. But the reason why I was studying communications in the first place, because I generally like to talk to people, how to communicate with certain type of people, how to interact with one another, and what I felt that I should do was to do a podcast. The podcast gave me an excuse to talk to people about random stuff. And do I actually care about the topics? I actually do. Do I care about the people that I talk to? I actually do. Because again, everyone has a story to tell. Every single one of you. Even it could be like a really bad story, like a tragic ending or something like that. But I consider the podcast as like a storytelling kind of thing. It's like, for example, I'll ask Damage, Damage, you're a student at the moment. So what are you studying at the moment?
Yeah.
What are you studying?
I'm still in high school, so just everything.
Everything. What do you plan after high school then? Are you planning to go to college, or are you going to student armed forces?
I plan to go to college for 4 years and go into computer science for game design.
Oh, nice. Computer science computer science. But after that, what are you going to do after that? Are you going to apply for a tech company? Are you going to do a gaming company? Or what are you doing?
Well, I plan to apply to a gaming company, but who knows what will happen since I'm doing all the streaming stuff now.
Gotcha. But if
and it's still like 4 years away.
But if streaming does not work, do you have a backup plan after that?
Well, the backup plan is, or my main plan is to do the computer design or computer science stuff. And if game design doesn't work, I'll probably go into like web security or something, or web design.
Gotcha. And what inspired you to study computer science in the first place? Or even though after high school?
Well, I've always liked playing games and stuff, and always wanted to be able to make something to make other people happy, and something to bring people together.
Gotcha. But would you ever consider like making a video game after that? Or no?
I've tried, but I need to study coding more because I still have absolutely no clue what I'm doing.
Alright. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that kind of thing. I usually ask these kind of questions to the audience members, and it may sound like I don't really give a shit. I actually do, because I just like I said, I just like talking to people in general. And unless they curse me out like, fuck you, GrandDanz, I'm like, oh, okay, well, fuck you too then, bitch. Other than that, that's pretty much how this podcast works out.
I got one.
Yes.
So you're gonna be inviting all the nerds to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that it's gonna be exclusive nerds, or are you gonna invite other people too from your Discord, for example?
It's gonna be exclusively for the nerds first, because the concept was to interview all 100 plus nerds in the Discord. But if it does reach to the point that we interviewed every single nerd, then we'll be interviewing some of the fathers as well, if they want to join in, the fathers, and people from the Patreon, and people from the BSL as well, if they want to be featured. But considering people from Patreon and VSL, I actually had to do a separate, how this is. I had to ask the admins there separately because VSL and Patreon had different admins and different mods, so I actually don't know them that well. Well, except Patreon, I know maybe 2 or 3 I know personally. VSL, I have no idea. Who the hell's the admins in the VSL? Does anybody know?
That's a good question.
Does anybody know who's the admins or the mods for VSL? Anybody in the chat? I don't think anybody here is even in the VSL. Oh, never mind, Justin. Fuzz, Lynx, Terath, and Dragon. Okay, that's perfect. I would just ask I'm in the VSL. Alright, forgot Justin. Okay, it says Justin, you're gonna be my inside man. I'm gonna be actually no, I should just ask Lynx or Dragon or Fuzz about it. Yeah, I'm gonna just ask those 3 about how I can interview some of the VSL members too. But that actually brings up another question. Again, thank you, Mars. If you are in all 3, let's say I would do Damage as an example. Damage is part of the Patreon, the VSL, and the Nerds, even though I know you're not. But if in that kind of situation, if you are featured, I mean, you could be selected to do it twice in a row if there's like no members, nobody's going to sign up for that particular podcast. You could be featured twice, but I'm going to be asking you separate questions, or different questions than the ones before. So, what about Nerd Chan? I mean, can I? Technically,
Might be interesting.
I mean, Nerd Chan technically
Podcasting.
is part of Nerds, and she's literally the mascot. But will she be willing to? That's the thing.
Guess you have to ask her.
That's a good question. And then I had to, well, I had to ask the other mascots as well. Isn't Victoria the mascot for the VSL? Victoria?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, VSL
boy.
can.
I haven't talked to Victoria in a long time.
How long is this podcast? Hey,
What do you mean?
roughly. What other new people doesn't know how long podcast is?
Oh, right, thank you. So usually the podcast will last around 2 to 3 hours on a max. On weekends, for weekdays, it'll usually last around 3 to 4 hours. But again, depending on people's schedulings and something like that. But on average, it's around 2 to 3 hours per podcast. So it's a very short one. It's not gonna be that long. Think about the podcast as more of like a casual kind of talk. I'll be talking to you guys about your personal life, what's your career plans, and something like that. And then we ask you some random questions. But what I do want to introduce later on, if the podcast go well, is do kind of like a game show kind of thing, a little game show. You don't get any rewards from it. It's just, I guess the feeling that you won a game show. It's kind of like a Jeopardy kind of thing. So, like, say for example, for Axel, what is the capital of Norway?
Oslo?
Congratulations, you won. There you go, that kind of thing.
Holy shit, I'm the first winner. Make me a...
But yeah, I have
Need a title in the Discord, the first winner of GrandDanz game show.
first winner for Axel. Yep. Yeah, Kippy, you can do that if you want. You can change his nickname, by the way, Kippy, if you want. Actually have another question people are probably thinking about as well. What if you ran out of questions or ran out of ideas of asking people? Well, the thing is, if I ever do run out of questions or something like that, I'll be pulling out some random articles that we can actually discuss about. But it's mostly going to be some, I guess, funny stories to me, I guess, or something big that happens in the gaming industry. Like, say, for example, oh, Sword Art Online is going to be introducing a new game. There's going to be an SAO now, Pog, that kind of thing. Even though it's not. People are going to be dying, but nothing, right? But that's pretty much how this is going to work out. I'm going to put out some random stories, and if you guys have any stories to tell, go right ahead as well. So let's say Mars wants to tell the story about how they got their dinosaur tail. You can tell a long story if you want. That kind of thing.
Okay, I always have one.
Yeah, well, I know.
Had one.
Well, I know.
It did grow, yeah.
Well, I know.
That was a long story.
Yeah. Like long as his tail.
I like my tail.
Well, I know. And I'm not gonna touch your tail now because literally your grandmother and your father threatened me. And I got screenshots, got DMs by the way, saying that, did you touch the tail? Did you fucking just yank the tail? Did you just grab the tail? Like, I didn't. Okay, first of all, it was a joke. Okay, and I already told Mars that to tell your father it was a joke. And he said, it's fine, it was a joke, it's fine with that. But again, it was a joke, ladies and gentlemen, a joke. Yeah, but see it too for ourselves. Do you have to wear underwear on the podcast? Asking for a friend, that's my question. Yes, you do. You have to wear underwear, you have to wear pants. You cannot have any avatar that will show a lot of... Well, basically, what I'm asking is do not show your wajangas and I don't want to see your sausages down there. That's the only thing I'm asking for. Yep. Like Veraxel, Damage, and even Mars is a skid right now. That's acceptable. You have to be on a proper podcast. We were talking to people. This is not this kind of podcast we're talking about. Oh, this is gonna be featured in a hentai or anything like that. No, you have to wear clothes. I'm sorry, you have to wear clothes. Yes, Avatar is not in. Ronaldo, if you're in your fucking underwear right now and you're on a podcast in real life, if you're just wearing just your underwear in real life, I don't give a fuck what you do at home. But in a podcast, I need you to wear clothes. That's all I'm asking for. IRL, I don't give a shit. You're gonna be literally just make your sausage just dangling around right there. I don't care what you do, dude. But again, seriously, if you are featured on the podcast, please choose an avatar that actually has clothing. Make it more sensible. Do not make anything that's TOS. Do not show your wajangas. I don't want to see that sausage thing in the bottom either. Okay, that's all I'm asking for. And especially that kind of avatar, I do not want to see either. Kippy, dangly parts. Anyways, this will. Okay. Let's see another question. Oh, what kind of topics can we talk about and what topics we cannot talk about? I'm pretty sure the three of you probably know about the situation already. We're not going to talk about anything about religion, no politics, and especially nothing against racism or any kind of that rhymes with the word ISM at the end. We're not going to talk about that kind of stuff. All we're going to be talking about is some random stuff, but nothing that's going to be triggering some people unless they're triggered by something else. Like, for example, Damage is very cute, is a big cutie.
Listen. No, you.
Told you.
That was a low blow.
Love you too, Damage.
Baka.
Can you deal with your kid, please?
No, he's doing good.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
He's so cute. Why? Why? Question: marry, fuck, or kill between you guys?
Wow.
What?
You know that game?
I'm
Who
easily
would
gonna
you?
kill them.
Yes.
Who would you marry? Who would you kill? And who would you fuck?
This is kind of awkward seeing how I'm related to one of them here.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know.
Either kill my mom or
Fornicate.
you know
with
the
your
other
mother.
two.
Fornicate with your mother. The
Two of them
immediate
are
awkward
illegal,
silence.
and one of them is just. All three of them would be illegal in that case.
Yeah. Okay. Varaxel, you me answer the question then.
What? Yes.
Well, we're waiting.
Yeah, and I'm just saying yes.
Wow. Okay. Awkward silence again. Whatever. Coffee. All right, fine. Let me ask.
like questions like that. On this podcast, you can't. That's enough answer at all.
Yeah, it's always kind of questions. If the person doesn't feel, comfortable answering it, like how damaged it was, like I don't want to answer it. Just let me know. I'll say immediately, okay, let's move on to the next question, or let's move on to the next person who wants to answer it, and so on like that. Talk about in the podcast. We also talk about some IRL stuff based on each of the three members here. Let's say, for example, if I ask Mars, what are your future plans at university or in your career?
Oh, I like to become an architect, which I'm going to study for.
Okay, it's that kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's just personal questions towards to these three. But if at any time you guys don't feel comfortable answering any questions at all, just let me know. Like, for example, just say, no, I don't want to answer that, stop, no, and I'll say, okay, that's understandable, we move on to the next topic. Next one, I think we should go to the topic of people who don't have VR chat or have very low quality computers, because some laptops and can't even handle VR chat. Can't even opening on the desktop version. They get like, I think 20 to 30 frames. I think damage. You experienced this before, right? You couldn't even open a VR chat sometimes.
Yeah, my crappy laptop could not load any world that was above like 10 megabytes.
Okay. Yep. So
It was not fun.
I'll do a separate podcast for that one, and I'll be doing it over a Discord call. I'll be streaming in this world with my VR avatar with the VR headset and everything else. But I'll be talking over a Discord call with the three people. I'll be most likely choose three people who cannot load VR chat in general. That way, those three can just group up together, and I'll be talking to them. Coffee, go right ahead. What's the date and time? Okay, the date and time is usually gonna be on a Tuesday from 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But every single, it's gonna be changed weekly. One week it could be on a weekday, another week it could be on a weekend. The weekend ones, it can be either on a Saturday or a Sunday, because a lot of people usually have their days off on Saturdays and Sundays. Those kind of podcasts going to be featuring from 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So be converting to 3 hours. It will be from 6 p.m. EST to 9 p.m. EST. Is that correct? Anybody? No? Can I join live? Yeah, you can join. again, anybody can join as long as you're a member of the Discord. Oh, damage. Yeah, he crashed.
Rip damage.
As long as you're a member of the Nerds, and or you're a member of the Discord of my Discord, the Grand Army Discord, even though it's literally named after Kippy. Yep. As long as you're one of those, I'll be putting up a sign up sheet in the Nerd Discord, and I'll be putting up a sign up sheet on my Discord server as well. But every week I'll be switching off from the Nerd Discord, and then I'll be switching off to my Discord as well. We'll be switching off every single week. Most likely, I'm gonna be asking one of the event hosts or one of the event managers on the Nerd Discord. Most likely, that'll be Misako or one of the chat mods. Even I can literally just give it to you, Coffee, or anybody else. I'll be posting it as an event.
Oh, you can even give it to me and Mark.
Yeah, I can give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Mars, your chat mod now too?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I can give it to Veraxel or I can give it to Mars. But I think it'll be easier for me to give it to Veraxel because he's already a mod for me. So, because we communicate more often than, no offense to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So many famous mod people.
Do whatever you want, copy.
But again, I'll be sending it to them about the sign up sheet. I'll give it to Veraxel. He'll be posting it on the event thing. And that's how you guys can sign up for the podcast. And I'll be mentioning if it's a weekend podcast or a weekday podcast. I'll be putting up the times and something like that. And if you guys have any other questions about the podcast, I'll be answering them. Just again, if you are featured on the podcast, I'll add you as a friend on Discord. You can ask me any questions about it in DMs if you feel too shy to ask me during the podcast or something like that. Just send me a DM. My DMs are always open. But if I see anything lewd in my DMs, I am immediately gonna block you. Just saying. Do not send anything lewd in my DMs. You said you wanted to interview the nerds. How are you gonna be interviewing the mute ones? That's actually a good question. For the mute streamers, I'll be having one of my mods be here, or even asking G4 to be in the background. They'll be reading whatever they type in the chat, and they'll be typing. Let's say Veraxel's here, and let's say for example Mars is a mute. Mars is not a mute, but as an example. So every time Mars types something in the chat, let's say I'll be asking him a question like, how's your day today, Mars? And Mars types, I'm doing good. And then Veraxel, you'll be the translator, like just reading off the chat what Mars said. That's how we're gonna interview the mute ones. And let's say that actually brings up. Yep. Now Veraxel, Mars types something.
I'm doing good.
See? Exactly like that, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you are a mute for the Nerd Discord, and again, I respect your decision for being a mute, we come prepared that my mods and G4 are willing to read the chat, because they usually do that anyway. So, if you're a mute or decide not to talk at all, but you still want to be on this podcast, we have staff member here. We have staff that are willing to read the chat. Whatever you type, they'll read it out loud with no opinions. Whatever they say, they'll say it. Or even questions about me and how the schedule is. Actually, no. Let's talk about the scheduling. How is the scheduling going to work out? It's going to be every Tuesday from 11 to 4 p.m. Unless you cannot make it on the weekdays, I'll make separate podcasts for weekends. So again, one week will be for weekday, another week for weekend, and then so on like that. It'll be switched around consistently. I'll be mentioning on the Nerd Discord about this week is going to be a weekend podcast. It's going to be on Saturday, or it's going to be on Sunday, and then the week after is going to be the weekdays. But it goes back to the question of how about the podcast for the people in my Discord community, the Grand Army, or Kippy, what are you doing? Anyways, we'll be still doing the podcast for them, but again, scheduling is going to be a little bit finicky, but I'll be adjusting it accordingly. It's that kind of scenario. But let's say, for example, you were chosen for a podcast, but the other two people you don't like talking at all. Again, maybe some personal beef, or you don't like talking to them in general. Just let me know. Just send me a DM. If you don't like talking to a certain person at all for any reason, something in the past, I'm not gonna touch into it. But if you have any personal beef with the person that are featured, let me know immediately. I'll be choosing someone else to replace that person, and I'll be talking to that person. I'll be featuring that person on a separate podcast. They will have priority for the week after. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how the podcast is going to work out, or in this case, the NURD Podcast. If you guys have any questions about the podcast or anything else, just send me a DM and I'll be answering your questions one by one. But again, like I mentioned at the end, do not say anything that's anything lewd. But one last thing, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'm always be proud to be joining the nerds. You guys are an amazing group of people, never change nerds, and I'm always be proud to be part of this family. Never change, guys. I love you all. Peace out.
The birds have just begun, yeah, yeah. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah.